I'm left-handed, so I'm going to work left to right. If you're right-handed, you want to work the opposite way. You always want to make sure that your tools are close at hand. So you want to organize everything first. So I want to get everything organized here. I have a damp rag in here, and just in case I want to clean my hands, you know, I can kind of do that, and then I just dry them off a little bit because sometimes it gets a little sticky. Right? Scrapers, fan, thermometer, another scraper over here, and my spatula. Now this is already dirty, and it's starting to set up. I don't want to stick this back in the chocolate. It's going to glob all up on there, so I want to clean this off. You're going to see me constantly cleaning my utensils. I want this chocolate off. I don't want that on there. Alright, get rid of that. Put this over here. This one's already clean, good. Do not throw that away. You keep this. Keep all those pieces. At the end of the day, when you want to retemper chocolate tomorrow, you throw all that back in. Heat that back up, go. That's money. You never throw those scraps away, right?
If it makes it tomorrow.
Now, or you eat it, right? 71 degrees. It's a little. I'm going to just lightly hit it. Just warm this up a little bit. Now, I'm accomplishing two things. I can see a spot on there now, and I know that spot, I see it, is going to create a problem. I want to heat the mold up, but also, now I've used this mold a couple times and I can see it. There are a few spots on here of excess cocoa butter that's stuck to this thing. I want to wipe that off. So I've wiped that little excess cocoa butter. You can't see it there, but there were these dull spots on there. Now, if you've ever done any molding with a mold that's clear, smooth, you're always going to see this kind of a shadow on there. It's not real shiny at some spots. The reason is, remember what I said? Air, movement, pull the heat away from the mold, right? Well, it doesn't necessarily go away from the mold completely evenly. So you're going to get these little, what we call pull marks or shadow spots on the mold because it didn't shrink quite enough or fast enough. So it left a little residue of cocoa butter. So clear molds, you're always going to see that. That's why most molds you see have rough surfaces on them, because it helps to demold a lot easier and not create these little spots. For us, yeah, you can see it on this. I'm going to pass this around. Assistant? Now I don't want you to touch it. I just want to look and see if you can see the shadow spots on there. And, you know, we're our worst critics. We want everything to look beautiful, especially the candy makers. I mean, the chocolatiers like beautiful looking pieces. So they get upset when they see these little things. But to me, no big deal. No big deal. Now, in perfect temper, I'm going to stop the bowl. Bowls were agitating the wrong way for me. It's a pain in the neck. This particular spatula here, it has a little groove in there, which is nice to put your thumb in. This is a commercial thing. These came from Europe, so I don't even know if you can find these around here, but you can tell our name's about worn off. So what I want to do is stir this up. I want to agitate this completely because it's been swirling around here in a circle and it's kind of pushing to the outside the cocoa butter and the chocolate. So some of the crystals on the outside are a little heavier than in the middle, so I'm going to just stir this up a little bit. Now I'm going to fill the mold. Now in this particular operation here, I'm just going to fill 2 of the cavities. You should fill the whole thing, obviously. But for purposes of demonstration, I can work better if my thumb's hanging out over the next cavity here. Scrape. I have a tray over here. I have, in this particular case, I have lined everything with wax paper because I hate cleaning. So when I'm done, I'm just going to roll the wax paper up around this. Make sure that all the chocolate is completely in all the corners of the mold. Now I'm getting air bubbles out. I know you can probably see them. They're big ones. I'm vibrating to get the air bubbles out. And the chocolate's actually rising and overflowing the mold because I'm agitating this thing. Right? Scrape the sides, scrape as much scraping as you can to keep it clean. Get more bubbles out. I don't want bubbles, pinholes in the top of the piece when I demold this thing. I may have a piece or two around with that in here. Now, if I was just making a bar, I'm done. I could vibrate it more and get more air bubbles out, but I'd be pretty much done. But I'm making a shell, so I'm going to make this hollow. I'm dumping it out. Dumping it out. Now, if I had the commercial scraper, it would. This is a little bit narrow, not quite wide enough, so I got to go on a kind of a crazy angle. The most difficult part is the very top edge. Tends to want to be the thinnest part of your bar. So I'm going to do this in a couple stages. It's not deep enough yet. So, and this is cooling. The temperature of this right now, 82 degrees. I lost 6 degrees already just playing with it right there. I'll take more out. It's coming. There it comes. It's coaxing it out. Take a little bit more out. I just want to see the ribs slightly of the, there we go, of the bar mold. So when I fill it, keep it clean. Clean these little edges off as much as possible because it's a lot easier to demold them when it's. Now I take it to the air. It's not quite ready yet. You'll know because you see it running. It'll eventually stop running. As it cools, it's going to stop running. One side is a little heavier than the other. $78 now. Whoops. It's a pretty big mold. There. Here. Voila. It's done. Am I good?
Magic.
You can pass that one out and take a look at it. There is a defect in there. See if you can see it. Made that one earlier. That one's got a problem. One of them's got a problem there. Now I'll do the disclaimer right now. I probably do this about 10, 12 times a year. That's it. So the more you do it, obviously the better you get. But you can see, even only doing it a few times a year, it comes back to you. It's like riding a bike, but it's not perfect. But if I was to stand here and do these all day, they would get better. Okay? Now, I want this to kind of get a little bit on the dull side. Then I'm going to pop it in here for a few minutes. Right? I don't know how cold it is in here. Too cold. Turning that back to 1. It's 37 degrees in that thing. I'm going to... Now if I put 4 or 5 molds in here, it'll go right to 50 degrees. It'll just go right up. Because all that heat's got to go somewhere, but this is a box, closed box. The heat's not getting out. See? That's why you need that air kind of forcing it, and the more you open it, I let the heat out. So don't worry, the optimal temperature to cool chocolate is 55 degrees. But here's the trick. It should go in at 65, cool to 55, and then come out at 65. When the big guys do it, they do it in a cooling tunnel. So the tunnel starts, could be, if it's a big one, it could be 100 feet long. Starts at 65 degrees. Gets down near the middle, it goes to 55. And it starts warming up gradually, comes out at 65, goes around the corner, flips over, they bang the back of it, the bar falls out onto a conveyor belt and goes to the wrapping area. Well, that's the perfect world, and if you got a couple $1 million, you can make one of those. You know? So this is getting there. Still a little shiny though. Still a little bit shiny. Did anybody find the defect in the bar? You did?
It's too soft. It's not gonna.
I'm sorry, say it again. This machine is.
It wasn't tempered. It's not.
Did you touch it?
Well, no.
But it doesn't look like it because
I can see
it's not shiny.
Yeah, it's soft.
Right? It's not shiny. That's the inside of the bar. In this case, this would be just like being the back or the bottom of the bar. Except now, it is in temper though. But now what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you why, I can see it shrinking already. I made this a couple hours ago. But there's one corner I didn't get enough chocolate in. That's going to be a bad corner. I can see the white spot. But if I pop this out, it's going to look like that bar over there, nice and shiny. The bottom is going to be dull. The bottom's going to be dull. I can't control that air temperature like they do in the cooling tunnels that the professionals do. I can't do that here. So you're always going to have that difference, that shiny, somewhat dull. But you're right, that would be just like the bottom. That would be just like the bottom. So that's a half. All right, so we have the bar. That's not coming out now. Still shiny, but it's not going to come out. Now if I turned it upside down and kind of, it may come down a little bit. All right, let's filling. Let's find the right ones here. Peanut butter. It's called peanut melt. It's a little bit softer. It's not really butter. It's made for candy making. Or you can eat it out of here. You can eat it right with a spoon. It's good. But it's not really butter. It doesn't spread. It's not spreadable too much unless you warm it up. But then if you warm it up, it gets very fluid. That's what we're going to do here.
So how is that? The ingredients are different also in that?
Yes.
What is it?
Peanuts. All right, this one has hydrogenated cottonseed and rapeseed oil. A little bit of milk, peanut oil, soy lecithin, that kind of emulsifies it, and believe it or not, sorbitol, which is used a lot in the industry as a sweetener. It has other properties to it besides just sweetening. What you need is a new bag. There might be enough in there.
Why do they put milk in there? You know, I mean.
I think it's probably just flavor. I better put a little more in there. Where's my clip? I'm gonna clip that end off. Just when I think I'm organized, I'm not.
So Bruce, you travel all over the world then?
No, I don't.
No.
I just do the Northeast.
And you go
For
to
my
Hawaii,
territory.
and you go to Belgium?
Now, I haven't been in Belgium for a long time. All right, so pastry bag. Love them. Throwaways. Put some peanut butter in this. Now, this is at room temperature. It's pretty stiff. Shot that one across the room. Get in there. Smells like peanut butter. You could not do this with peanut butter. Too oily. The spread's too oily. It would leak like crazy in the mold. You need something that's been firmed up. This has been emulsified, so it's firmed up pretty good. The more, the easier, even though I'm only going to do the 1 bar. So I fill that up. This is where the microwave, again, comes in really, really handy. Don't cut the bag until you're... Otherwise you're cleaning the microwave too. Watch this. 10 seconds. This will burn really fast. Now we fix for the jelly. I think we got enough jam in there to do that one. Well, I said you got to go over here and
10 seconds.
get that grease off my hands here. Took me about 4 or 5 years to figure out how to do this. Okay, it looks good. All right, now it's got ribs in it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6. So I'm going to do every other one with peanut butter. Not too much. Guess I'll do both. Must do all 3. You don't want to go to the edge. You want to keep it in the middle. Because when you break them, you don't want too much leakage. All right, so there's the peanut butter. I drop it back in there, just like that. It won't leak. Love these cups, they're great. Now we go to the jelly, or this is actually jam. And this stuff, I did this earlier. It's still very viscous, very, very fluid. It's got a lot of water in it. This is not a long shelf life product.
Do you use a certain brand or jam? It's just whatever?
I just use what they have here that the Amish made.
Okay.
Love working here because there's so much stuff. You guys were here when I did the spices that one time last year? Yeah, that was interesting. Spices and chocolate. Now it doesn't look like a lot, but that is a lot to eat. It's good. All right, put this back here out of the way. Now, I can pop this in here, firm that up a little bit before I would top it. If I try to do it now, I just pull it all out, right? I made the other ones earlier. And that's what they were. The ones I passed around, these are filled with peanut butter and jelly, right? Now, the rule of thumb usually when you do molding is make the shells in the morning, fill them in the afternoon, and then if it's firm, you can cap them in the afternoon. If not, let them set till tomorrow. Or you can make the shells one day and fill them the next day. Need some time to set properly so you don't have problems with leakage and stuff pulling out when you do it. All right? So we'll leave that in there for a couple minutes. Much shinier than the one before. Did not go in the freezer. And I don't have to put this in the freezer. I could let this air dry and do these tomorrow. Probably would have less gonna have a little more gloss here than that one you saw, right? Because again, long period of time, normal air condition, normal air. But I can't do anything with this right now. It's not good yet.